Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're setting the stage for a seriously fascinating journey. We're going to unpack the ancient linguistic mysteries of Surah Al-Jathiya and trace its incredible evolution right up to its modern-day applications in spiritual healing and commerce. So whether you're a linguistics enthusiast or just kind of curious about how ancient texts still live and breathe in modern culture, there is absolutely something captivating here for you. Let's dive in. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, an introduction to the kneeling. Then, unlocking the severed letters, followed by signs in nature and warnings, and finally, spiritual virtues and healing.
Starting with Section 1, Introduction to the Kneeling. Let's understand the foundation of Chapter 45.
So, the word jathiyah, it's an Arabic term that literally denotes kneeling, and it serves as the title for the 45th chapter of the Quran. Based on the source analysis we're looking at, this designation is pulled straight from verse 28 of the text itself. And honestly, this is brilliant because it immediately grounds you, the reader, in the central theme of humility, submission, and awe before a higher power. It isn't just some random placeholder title, right? It sets the whole emotional and spiritual tone for everything we're about to explore. To quickly frame this up historically and structurally, this specific revelation is made up of exactly 37 verses. It's positioned as chapter 45 in the overall compilation, and it was historically revealed in the city of Makkah. Now that Meccan context is a huge clue. It tells us that the text focuses heavily on foundational beliefs, the universe, and life after death. It really sets the stage for the powerful imagery we're going to see.
Moving on to Section 2. Unlocking the severed letters, the linguistic mystery of Hamim.
The Arabic letters Ha and Mim open this surah. In Arabic linguistic analysis, these are known as huruful muqatta'ati, which literally translates to severed letters. They don't actually form a standard translatable word when put together. Instead, you recite them letter by letter. It's this profound linguistic mystery that's had scholars scratching their heads and totally fascinated for centuries.
Now you might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, linguistic analyst Numan Ali Khan points out that these letters are supposed to have this incredibly humbling effect. When a human being reads them, they kind of have to come to terms with the fact that their own knowledge is limited. He notes that historically, these severed letters completely baffled the educated early Arab scholars, not to mention the local Jews and Christians who really prided themselves on their literacy. So for the unlettered prophet to recite the exact names of these Arabic letters, that served as profound proof that he was receiving divine inspiration, and not just speaking from his own intellect.
All right, Section 3, Signs in Nature and Warnings. Let's look at the core duality of the text.
The source text does this beautiful balancing act between incredible natural wonders on one hand and incredibly stern warnings on the other. It directly contrasts what it calls miraculous signs for true believers. Think of the precise alternation of night and day, rain bringing a dead, dry earth back to life, the shifting winds. It compares all of that against the severe consequences and painful punishment waiting for those who arrogantly reject these miracles. It's a striking duality for sure. You've got nature's life-giving wonders right alongside the heavy, heavy cost of arrogance.
And this whole concept of natural miracles is brilliantly illustrated when the text talks about the subjugation of the sea. It uses the oceans calmed down so that ships can safely sail and humanity can go out and seek physical and economic bounty as a primary example of divine favor. It's specifically designed to make you feel a profound sense of gratitude. I mean, the ocean is vast, it's powerful, it's dangerous, yet it's made navigable for our benefit. The text is essentially asking the reader to look at this not as a random accident, but as a deliberate sign.
So what happens when someone just ignores these magnificent signs? The text uses some very specific, really intense language. It uses the word afakun. Based on the linguistic analysis, this defines a sinful liar, specifically someone who persistently fabricates vicious falsehoods. The text warns of dire consequences for the afakun, describing an incredibly arrogant person who constantly creates these lies, listens to the divine revelations, and then just brushes them off as a joke.
And the consequence for that kind of persistent arrogance? Well, that's described with another highly specific, pretty heavy term, rijzwan. This is an Arabic root word that means a painful sickness that physically impairs you, and it can also translate to filth. So if someone insists on their arrogance, the text says their punishment is made of rijzwan. It's a deeply visceral linguistic choice. It paints this vivid picture of an impairing, filthy sickness as the ultimate consequence for a viciously arrogant liar who mocks the universe's signs.
Which brings us to Section 4, Spiritual Virtues and Healing. Let's look at modern cultural applications.
The crucial point here is wrapping our heads around the massive leap presented by this question. How exactly is this ancient text applied by believers today in modern spiritual practice? I mean, how do we get from 7th century linguistic warnings about the cosmos all the way to modern-day commercial spiritual healing and cultural traditions? It is a fascinating journey of faith and real-world application.
According to modern practitioners, specifically looking at our source from Sarkar healings, reciting or utilizing this surah is believed to provide very specific virtues. The claimed spiritual benefits include protecting newborns from all calamities, keeping people safe from slander and backbiting, avoiding Jahannam or hell, and even protection from the persecution of unjust authority figures. Now, as your explainer, we want to be super objective here and note that we are reporting on spiritual beliefs. These outcomes depend entirely on a person's faith and intention, and they absolutely do not constitute medical advice, but it really highlights how heavily these ancient words are leaned upon for everyday comfort and protection.
And that trust actually materializes in some very physical ways. The source outlines a specific cultural practice stating, "Whoso writes this surah on paper and wears it around the neck as a taweez," now a taweez is an amulet. The cultural belief is that by physically writing these verses down on paper and wearing them, or even tying them to a newly born baby's arm, the wearer is kept in divine safety, protected from oppression, and even becomes popular among people. It's literally taking the text we just analyzed and applying it as a physical shield.
What's wild is how these ancient beliefs have seamlessly integrated into our globalized modern infrastructure. Modern spiritual healing stores today offer a whole menu of services based on these texts. They offer physical taweez amulets that can be mailed globally. They do ruqyah therapy, which is spiritual healing for afflictions. You can even get distance healing for remote treatments online and black magic removal using the Quran and Sunnah. It's this entire thriving commercial ecosystem built directly on the foundation of ancient texts like Surah Al-Jathiya.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. From severed, mysterious Arabic letters in the 7th century, all the way to physical amulets being shipped across the globe today, how do these ancient, meticulously analyzed words continue to weave themselves so deeply into the physical and spiritual commerce of our modern world? It's a pretty powerful testament to the enduring nature of human belief. Thanks for diving into this with me. Keep reflecting on the signs around you, and we'll catch you in the next